possibly. That doesn't mean it's not going to be warm the rest of this week, but let's dive into it here. Again, that heat advisory set to expire tonight. So, again, another day of making sure you're drinking plenty of water, trying to stay cool. You can duck in and out of different places if you can't stay cool at home. But again, just remember to be safe out there. Watch your pets. Keep them in mind as well. So, yeah, I know a lot of people have been probably preaching this for a few days, getting you ready, but it is a serious thing to kind of keep with you here as the heat continues. So, again, let's get into that weather forecast for Northwest Pennsylvania here on this 24th day of June. And again, we're looking at another hot day today with temperatures in the low 90s. Wednesday, looking at thunderstorms and temperatures in the low 80s with a mix of sun and clouds in there as well. Storms tomorrow may contain strong, gusty winds. Thursday, variably cloudy thunderstorms, especially in the afternoon, and a high in the mid-80s. Friday, scattered thunderstorms in the morning, then mainly cloudy during the afternoon with thunderstorms likely. Storms may contain strong gusty winds at about 86 on Friday. Saturday, rain showers in the morning, scattered thunderstorms arriving in the afternoon with temperatures in the low 80s. And just to go through it one more time, sunny to partly cloudy today, near record high temperatures, about 92 degrees. So that is what is in store for us here today. All right, 6:52 is our time. Again, happy Tuesday. Yeah, and we've got Amy's going to do birthdays and what we're celebrating here in just a couple minutes. We're going to do it early today because we've got some other things we want to get to this morning. Joe Tech's going to be joining us here on this Tuesday. Looking forward to catching up with Joe. We are eventually, we were hoping to have him on today, but there's a young student from Franklin who is a performer and looking to have Gabe Taylor join us. We were initially supposed to have him on today, but had to reschedule that. So we look forward to having Gabe on when he's able to do so. And we're actually going to start highlighting some local artists here, and looking forward to that. We talk a lot with the chamber directors about all the great entertainment in Northwest Pennsylvania. Our establishments do a great job hosting local artists, and it's a lot of fun to go someplace, enjoy a good meal, and enjoy great entertainment. And we're going to put a series together on spotlighting those artists and give them a chance to perform for our audience and maybe give them a little bit of exposure as well. So, yeah, looking forward to, especially when it comes to young artists. It's great. Again, we've got so many students that are doing great things in music, and it's wonderful that they're provided these opportunities to get out and perform. So we look forward to having Gabe, but not only Gabe, but others as well. And we've talked before about very vocal about supporting the open mics that are taking place around here. And there's one again Thursday at the Oil Creek and Titusville Railroad. If you're interested in playing or just coming and enjoying, you can do both. So that's something that we look forward to as well Thursday nights. So that's through the summer. And then there's, a lot of other places doing similar things. So you got Monday night concerts in the park on Tuesday. I know Franklin has concerts. Meadville has concerts. So get out and enjoy it, especially when the weather's great. And the weather has been great. Now we got some few threats here of thunderstorms and severe weather over the next couple days. Not quite as warm, but still going to be nice just to be able to get out and enjoy it. All right, so we're going to be turning our attention here to birthdays and what we're celebrating. And today is the 24th day of June. and Amy's going.
You are like way ahead of my game.
Well, you're.
I know.
Switching up the schedule today, so
it's my fault.
No. What'd you say?
It's my fault.
Yeah. I don't hear that very often.
No.
In fact, it was a year ago, I think, that I heard that. I have it written down someplace over here. I keep tabs on this stuff. Yeah. At our weekly men meetings, we keep running tabs on all this stuff. All right. Who's celebrating a birthday today?
Today we have musician Mick Fleetwood is 78. Actor Peter Weller is 78.
RoboCop.
Actress Mindy Kaling is 46. Actress Minka Kelly is 45. Actress Erin Moriarty is 31.
That sounds, well, I mean, Moriarty, of course, in Sherlock Holmes. It just has that evil,
That's nice.
You know what I'm saying, though? Mm-hmm. There's just some names it's like, boy, you'd make a good bad guy.
Okay.
All right, happy birthday. I didn't mean to spoil the birthday. Happy birthday. We turn our attention to what it is we're celebrating here on this Tuesday. What's going on?
It is Farmer Day, Fix Your Windows and Doors Day, International Fairy Day, International St. John's Day, Midsummer, National Lay Day, National Pralines Day.
Midsummer?
I know,
right?
Just started. That's just weird to me, but okay. National Pralines Day, National Relationship Equity Day, Swim a Lap Day, and Upcycling Day. There you go.
I'm so excited.
Why?
I actually slept last night.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
We got one of those, like those stand-up...
The tower.
The tower AC units. Mm-hmm. And you vent it out the window. So it's not like the ones that sit in the and there's nothing wrong with those ones.
No.
But we've...
I think our house, we have an older house. So the ones that sit in the windows, I don't know how well they would work. And our windows are different as they're in the front of the house. Sorry, never mind. Go ahead.
Well, no, it's the same. So we got one of those and got installed last night, and boy, was it great!
It was. What did we installed it at like 7, and then we were helping our kids in their rooms, and then we all came back.
Well,
and we're all like, oh,
yeah, that was kind of a funny thing too, because we bought it locally, but we were somewhere else looking at something else for the kids, and we weren't quite sure we wanted to get something for them. They said they slept okay. But we ran into somebody we knew, and she's like, "Oh, you getting these for the your kids?" And like, "Yeah, we're trying to figure it out." She goes, "It's hot. It's hot. They're your kids."
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just messing. But yeah, it wasn't until it's like you go in and it's really cool in the room, and then you step out back in the hall in the house.
Sauna.
Yeah, it's like, okay, it's hot. It is hot. So again. Just be safe today, and
I did
watch
I know I said it yesterday, but your local library is actually
you actually sent me this.
I did. It's a heat shelter. It's like a registered heat. If it's too hot, you have nowhere else to go. Your local library. And remember, be silent.
In the library. That's why I can't go in the library.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's 2 reasons I can't go in the library. That's one of them.
And take a minute to read a book. Yeah.
Well, that's the third. I got to learn how to read.
I love reading.
Explosions were heard across Doha on Monday as Iran launched missiles at a U.S. air base in Qatar's capital. The attack was retaliation for U.S. airstrikes on Iranian nuclear sites over the weekend, when it joined Israel's air war against Tehran. But just hours later, U.S. President Donald Trump announced on his Truth Social platform a, quote, complete and total ceasefire between Israel and Iran. He congratulated the two countries on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what he called the 12-day war. Trump had said Iran gave the United States notice prior to the missile attack in Doha, which he said made it possible for no lives to be lost. Early on Monday, Israel bombed a political prison in Tehran in a renewed demonstration of its willingness to strike not only military and nuclear targets, but key pillars in Iran's ruling system. The Trump administration maintains its aim is to solely destroy Iran's nuclear program, not to open a wider war. But in a social media post on Sunday, Trump spoke of toppling the hardline clerical rulers, who have been Washington's main foes in the Middle East since Iran's 1979 Islamic Revolution.
The Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home has been serving the needs of Titusville and surrounding communities since 1965. Mr. Garrett believed in tradition and commitment to excellence, standards that have been passed down from one generation to now a new generation, who will work to provide you with a beautiful, lasting tribute to your loved one. When you need them, they will be there for you. This has been their foundation for almost 60 years. The Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home, 303 North Washington Street in Titusville.
Anyone with a kind and generous heart and a little money can be a philanthropist. You too can be a force for good in our community, and the Crawford Heritage Community Foundation is here to help you make the most of your charitable giving. We've partnered with hundreds of people like you to make our world and our community a better place. You can give through us to support scholarships or any charitable organization or purpose. Whether you're interested in establishing a permanent endowment or adding to an existing fund, we want to be a part of your plan. Contact us when you're ready to make your mark. Together, we can make your contribution go further.
If you're looking for a professional massage therapist, Tranquil Moments Massage in Titusville is here for you. Rayanne Rauch graduated from Slippery Rock University with a bachelor's degree in exercise and rehabilitative sciences with an emphasis in athletic training. Tranquil Moments offers a wide range of services, from Swedish massage to deep tissue, sugar scrubs to hot towel inclusion therapy. Like them on Facebook and visit their website to learn more about all the services they offer. Tranquil Moments Massage in Titusville.
Thinking about switching to 5G home internet? Think again. Unlike Zoom from Armstrong, 5G home internet is delivered by a cell tower. The further away you are, or the more devices connected to that tower, the slower your internet is. Cell phone providers also play favorites. When their network gets busy, cell phones win, and your home internet pays the price. Stick with Armstrong to get more data, more speed, and internet whenever you need it, not whenever they want. Armstrong, keeping you connected.
J. Gill Plumbing and Heating takes pride in being the premier heating and air conditioning service provider in the area. With over 30 years of experience, our highly skilled and certified technicians will work closely with you to address your heating and air conditioning repair, installation, or maintenance needs. Our team is dedicated to making your home the ultimate place of comfort. Call today to get a free estimate. We also offer financing options and membership opportunities that provide peace of mind and cost savings. Call J. Gill Plumbing and Heating today, or visit them online 24/7 at jgillplumbingheating.com.
Sheer Design is Titusville's exclusive Paul Mitchell-focused salon. This full-service salon specializes in coloring, cuts, nails, and tanning. Owner Angela Saxon has over 20 years' experience as a Paul Mitchell professional. She and her licensed staff offer all cuts and styles for men and women of all ages. Call 814-827-0010 or stop in at 116 South Kerr Street in Titusville.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Levin, and I proudly own and operate Puppy Levin. Puppy Levin is a pet care salon dedicated to caring for your furry companions. We provide certified dog grooming services, along with boarding and doggy daycare. Our facility is family-owned and operated and promise personalized care for every pet that comes through our doors. If you're worried about your furry friend being lonely when you're gone, we also have on-site personnel 24/7 just for their comfort. Follow us on Facebook and call or text us at 814-758-9259 to make an appointment today.
Share the fun of train travel and relive our country's oil history as you ride the OC&T through the valley that changed the world. Learn about the past while traveling on vintage cars. See a variety of wildlife with stops at Drakewell Park, Petroleum Center, and Oil Creek State Park. Arrive early and see the vast collection of train and railroad memorabilia at Perry Street Station. After the ride, enjoy a night stay at the Caboose Motel. For seasonal specials or for more information, visit octrr.org or call 814-676-1733.
U.S. stocks closed higher to start the week, with the Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ Composite rising almost 1% each. Oil prices fell sharply after Iran retaliated against U.S. airstrikes but did not close the Strait of Hormuz, a crucial oil shipping route, as it had previously threatened. While fears of an escalating conflict in the Middle East remain, markets mostly shrugged off the latest attacks, said Jason Brown, president of Alexa Investment Partners.
There was a lot of concern going on in people's minds about what might happen. And the biggest concern, of course, is us getting drawn into a multi-year conflict with boots on the ground in the Middle East. Obviously, we've got a lot of presence in the Middle East, but so far, the most desirable outcome seems to be that which is taking place, which is a relatively swift action that hopefully is somewhat short-lived, that hasn't led to any significant increase in oil prices, for example, or been hugely disruptive, and hopefully limits the overall extent of engagement. And the markets seem to be celebrating that today.
Stocks also got a boost from Federal Reserve policymakers, including Michelle Bowman, who said on Monday that it is time to consider adjusting interest rates, as risks to the job market outweigh inflationary concerns related to tariffs. And Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago President Austin Goolsbee said that so far, tariffs have had a more modest economic impact than expected. Financial markets are pricing in at least 2 25 basis point rate cuts before the end of the year. The first cut is widely expected to happen in September. Individual stocks on the move included Tesla, which jumped 8% after the long-awaited launch of the company's robo-taxi service in Austin, Texas. And shares of DoorDash rose about 4.5% to a more than 3-year high after broker Raymond James upgraded the stock to strong buy from outperform.
All right, let's take a look at that weather forecast for northwest Pennsylvania. That heat advisory set to expire tonight. Marginal risk of severe weather today. Sunshine and a few afternoon clouds near record high temperatures, low 90s. Few clouds tonight with lows around 70. Wednesday, scattered thunderstorms, low 80s. Thursday, scattered thunderstorms, mid 80s. Friday, thunderstorms, mid 80s. Saturday, scattered thunderstorms, low 80s. Meadville this morning, checking in at 73 degrees. Cambridge Springs, Edinburgh at 74. Titusville, 69. Franklin, 71. Oil City, 69 degrees. I know it feels like the sun is sort of parked right in your home, in your room, I'm sure, this morning. It's warm. 10 minutes, about 11 minutes now past the hour of 7 o'clock. This is the Morning Drill. You're watching it on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. All right, a Tuesday morning, getting you through the week here. Another warm one. Of course, everybody's been talking about the weather, so, I mean, it's just what everybody's supposed to be doing, right? Just a couple things. I know we went through this yesterday, but as that heat dome is sort of parked over us right now, more than just drinking water. Just something else to kind of keep in mind. Here's a few quick little tips. Stay cool. And stay indoors.
Yeah. And turn your lights off.
Yeah.
It really, it sounds ridiculous, but it really brings the temperature down. And if you are outside, I'm telling you, when we went on a hike on Sunday, it was a lot cooler in the woods.
Yeah.
Like a lot cooler. So if you can't, if you have nowhere to be indoors and you can't get to a library, it is a lot cooler in the woods.
Yeah. So the other thing is, not only should you be drinking water, but you also need to keep in mind that through this heat, you, as you sweat, you not only lose water, but you also lose electrolytes. So you may want to find something to help replenish that. Coffee is not the best idea.
No?
In extreme heat, okay? Because it stimulates the body and can make you feel warmer. But we're inside, and it's negative
air.
50 degrees in here.
It is.
The other thing,
so nice in here.
Protect your skin. Extreme heat and sunny days mean your skin is also vulnerable. So you should stay inside and avoid the rays from the sun on extreme heat days. If it's not possible, take measures to protect your skin. Sunscreen, not just one time and that's it for the rest of the day, but probably several times during the day if you're going to be out quite a bit. And again, as we said yesterday, learn the signs of heat illness and act accordingly. So again, a couple quick tips. And keep in mind, keep your pets safe as well.
One of our children, our oldest, was in Pittsburgh yesterday working. And where he was working, he was outside the entire time. Now, it was a very professional environment. So they actually had doctors on hand, passing out sunscreen, keeping them hydrated. And he said he applied like 1,000 layers of sunscreen and he still got burned. So
yeah. Yep. So again, just be careful out there. Here, you want this dumb story of the day?
Sure.
All right, here's the dumb story of the day. An ESPN commentator apologized for saying that's what makes America great during an awkward WNBA broadcast moment. Rebecca Lobo apologized after co-commentator Pam Ward did not respond to her phrase during the Fever Aces game last night. There was a scuffle, an awkward, so there was a scuffle on the court, I guess. There's some disagreement and whatever, they got through it and moved on. And all the broadcaster said was, this was it. They had the problem on the court. They figured it out. They moved on. They settled their differences. And all she said was, that's what makes America great. She didn't say that's what makes America, make America great again. She didn't say that. She said that's what makes America great.
Why are we in a point where we have to apologize for words? Or why do simple words...
Because people are stupid.
Trigger everybody in the wrong way.
Yeah.
What I say one way, you're going to take another way. Oh my gosh, I love the color red. Somebody's going to get upset.
Yes.
And I'm, oh my gosh, she's horrible. She likes red. That means she's...
She wasn't saying anything political. She wasn't saying. She was just saying that's what makes. Yes, you can have an argument, settle things, and move on. You can disagree, and she said that's what makes America great. Yeah,
your insensitivity.
I think America's great.
I find offensive. I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I'm kidding. I'm just saying, we've gotten to this ridiculous. And then
it's to the point where she feels she has to apologize for that, and her broadcast partner's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have said that. She didn't say make America great again. She said that's what makes America great. There's a lot of things that make America great.
Smith's hot dogs.
Smith's hot dogs. Absolutely. Absolutely. 110%. But that's the headline this morning. And anyhow, it's kind of where we are. All right, let's see. We got Joe Tech joining us later this morning, and looking forward to catching up with Joe and all the cool things going on in the world of technology. This time of year, I know a lot of people suffering with some allergy things. We're going to hear from doctors Peter and Michelle White later this morning as well. And we've been doing these great interviews with local doctors, with our friends at Meadville Medical Center. Of course, we have Titusville Area Hospital on, and a chance to learn more about the folks who are here right in our communities doing great things. This is always a fun one, but chance to meet Dr. Katie Warren here this morning. And thank you for being with us here today. Joining us is Dr. Katie Warren, neurologist here at Meadville Medical Center. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm from Fredonia, New York, near Buffalo. I went to Allegheny College here in Meadville, so I had some connection to the area. I majored in neuroscience and then did my master's in neuroscience. Went away for then to medical school in Lecom in Erie. Finished up in neurology, obviously. I did my residency in Albany, New York, my fellowship in Buffalo, New York, and I came back to work here in 2015. So I've been here for 10 years.
Wow. When did you know that this was the direction you wanted to go, getting into neurology or just being a doctor in general?
So in 10th grade in high school, I was asked to write a paper about something. I guess we could really pick any topic. And I happened to write a paper about dreams. It was not so much about the theory of dreams, but the science behind dreams. Why do we dream? What does the brain function during dreams? And that was my first exposure to anything in at all related to neurology. And I can't really explain why, but it's just stuck with me ever since. And I've literally been following along that path ever since 10th grade in high school. So I only applied to colleges that had neuroscience as a major. I went for my master's in neuroscience, of course did neurology residency and fellowship. So it's never wavered. I've just known since high school.
So when you were going to Allegheny, you obviously knew of Meadville Medical Center. Mm-hmm. Was that a hospital you kind of said, boy, I could see myself working there someday?
In undergrad, I would say no, and not because of anything wrong with Meadville Medical Center. It was just as a college student, most of the time you stay away from the hospital. There's not a lot of need to use the hospital. And it wasn't really on my radar yet where I would end up. I think I just wasn't there yet. Priorities are different at that time. So no, that wasn't really on my radar, but I would say definitely when I went to Lecom, that's when I started thinking that I would end up back here. I did several rotations here at Meadville Medical Center when I was a student. So I've kind of came full circle and came on back.
What kind of stood out to you where you just thought, yeah, this is where I'd like to be?
So I definitely, on a personal level, wanted to be in a smaller town for my family. My husband and I have 2 kids. They're 10 and 13. And of course, when I came here to live, they were 0 and 3. So we wanted to raise our family in a smaller town. We actually live in Edinburgh, so I drive into work. I also definitely wanted to work in a smaller hospital. I've never been drawn to the bigger hospital systems. It's kind of too busy, too many people, too many cooks in the kitchen. So that really just wasn't a good fit for me. And then specific to Meadville, I would say when I did my rotations here, I knew it was a good fit because there are so many specialists for this size hospital. And I really had a good exposure to different ways of doing things and different types of specialties. Of course, I knew the neurologists that were here at the time. They're no longer here, but I had anticipated joining that practice, and I could really see myself working well with them.
Did it surprise you at all? It's just working here where somebody would say, boy, I think we might need this, and then shortly after that role's fulfilled. It just seems like Meadville Medical Center does a really good job at listening to patients, seeing what the needs are in the community, and addressing it.
So specific to neurology, I would say that there is a very big need for neurology in any hospital system. However, there aren't a lot of us, so it is hard to get enough in one area. Fortunately, we actually have 3 neurologists now, which is quite a bit for our size hospital. When I started, there were 2 other neurologists at the time, but again, they had kind of gone separate ways by the time I got here when I started. So I do think they're certainly listening to what the community needs and trying to provide those resources in the community, but it is hard sometimes to get certain specialists in the area. There's either not a lot of them, or there isn't maybe a connection to this area. It's certainly hard to convince someone to live in Meadville, Pennsylvania, maybe if they have no connection to being here. But certainly, yeah, they're constantly trying to fill those gaps and help the patients in the community.
So let's talk about your department. The patients that you're seeing vary from what to what?
So we see all neurology patients here in Meadville. My partner, 2 other partners and I, we do see any type of neurologic concern. The most common example of things we see would be migraines, but epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, stroke, tremors, ALS, and I'm sure some others that not coming to mind.
But there's a lot. I mean, you're really addressing a lot for our region.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what's that care like? Is it contacting your office, or are you, is a patient being referred to your office? How does that work?
So our office requires a referral. It's not for insurance purposes. It's because neurology is very heavy on history. And so it's very important that we have records for a patient's history prior to them coming to us. So normally I would say a primary care doctor might identify, let's say, a memory concern for a patient, and they would refer them to us. If a patient has seen another neurologist for either the same reason or a different reason in the past, we also require that those records be sent with the patient because, again, it's very important for us to understand their background before we see a patient. It's difficult to kind of start from scratch in neurology because everything is based on what all has happened before that.
What are some, this is sort of a little question, but what are some symptoms that you may start experiencing where you should say, you know what, maybe it's time to see my doctor and begin that process? Because it seems, again, you cover a lot with what you do, but are there some things that people should be kind of on the lookout for?
Specific to cognitive changes
Sure.
or other things, do you mean?
We'll start with there.
Okay, so for memory loss or cognitive changes, usually we get concerned when the memory loss is affecting someone's ability to take care of themselves or their environment. So whether that's caring for their household work, chores around the house, or if it's taking care of their medications, if it is communicating with family members, possibly driving, if that's becoming an issue. So having a little bit of memory loss is expected for everyone to some degree, and certainly as we get older, but when it starts to affect someone's ability to care for themselves or their environment, that's when we start to get more concerned, and that's when usually we would receive a referral for a patient.
So that's the cognitive side. Are you working with other departments within the hospital with other types of patients?
So for stroke patients, that's a big part of what we see in the hospital side. So when someone has stroke symptoms, they are initially evaluated in the emergency department, usually admitted to the hospital for a couple of days. Me and my partners are involved in seeing the patients in the hospital as well, and then we also follow up with them in the office after they've been discharged from the hospital. So in that sense, certainly there's more of a multidisciplinary team where we're working with obviously the team in the hospital, physical therapists, occupational therapists, things like that.
What are some things that people should be looking at in terms of their health and just making sure it doesn't, something doesn't pop up 10 years from now or next month, or amount of sleep that somebody gets, things like that. What are some things that you should be keeping an eye on?
So the big three, especially for stroke prevention, are diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. They are known over the years, if not controlled, to cause strokes and heart attacks, another problem as well. So if someone can keep those under good control preceding, like you said, in the 10 or 20 years leading up to that, hopefully we can prevent that from happening in the first place. So those would be the big three. As you mentioned, sleep is certainly important. And also not only the number of hours of sleep, but making sure it's good quality sleep. So one of the things that we're seeing a lot more of is obstructive sleep apnea, and one of the doctors in our office is a sleep specialist. So she is an expert in treating sleep apnea and other sleep disorders. So we do have somebody in-house helping with that as well, and making sure, again, not only the number of hours you're sleeping, but that it's good quality sleep as well.
At the end of the day, what do you do to unwind and relax?
Well, there's not a lot of unwinding with two busy preteens. So we're just busy at home with the kids, and we have a new dog. so she keeps us busy as well.
That's excellent.
So yeah, in the summertime we like boating and being out on the lake. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite book?
Ooh, good question. I do read quite a bit. My favorite, I'll go this, my favorite author is Jodi Picoult, and so pretty much anything she's written is my go-to for reading.
Go-to music?
Ooh, music. Counting Crows. That ages me. That was my favorite band in high school, and I am going to see them this summer.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
How about favorite movie?
The Notebook.
Okay.
Alzheimer's, love story,
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we greatly appreciate your time. It was
Thank
a real
you.
pleasure.
Nice to meet you.
And thank you for joining us as well. That's Dr. Katie Warren. And again, a chance to learn more about doctors in our communities, and greatly appreciate Meadville Medical Center and Titusville Area Hospital. Before we hit your news and recap what's going on, let's look at Major League Baseball for a moment. The Orioles beat the Rangers 6-0 last night. Braves beat the Mets 3-2. Reds over the Yankees 6-1. Mariners with the 11-2 win over the Twins. Pirates picked up a win over the Milwaukee Brewers 5-4. Diamondbacks with the 10-0 win over the White Sox. Cubs fell to the Cardinals 8-2. Angels over the Red Sox 9-5. And the Nationals batting their way past the Padres to win 10-6 last night. Now today you've got the Orioles and Rangers at 6:35. Tigers and A's today. Guardians and Blue Jays at 6:40. Mets and Braves at 7:10. Reds take on the Yankees at 7:10. At 7:40, it's the Twins and Mariners. Pirates and Brewers again. Rays and Royals in Kansas City. White Sox hosting the Diamondbacks. 7:45, Cardinals Cubs. 8:10, Astros Phillies. At 8:40, the Rockies and Dodgers. 9:38 tonight, the Angels and Red Sox. Padres have the Nationals at 9:40, and Giants and Marlins at 9:45 this evening. So there's your Major League Baseball matchups. We'll have a little bit more in sports coming up right after the news here this morning. And let's see, we've got some business headlines we're going to be bringing you this morning as well. The news, you're probably going to hear about ceasefire. However, there's some breaking news here this morning that says that both sides have violated ceasefire after Israel accused Iran of attacks, which they're denying. So there is some breaking news on that front here this morning. So we'll keep you posted there, but we'll give you the main setup, at least hinting at the ceasefire announced last night. But it looks like something else is happening here this morning. All right, 7:30, your headlines are next.
Explosions were heard across Doha on Monday as Iran launched missiles at a U.S. air base in Qatar's capital. The attack was retaliation for U.S. airstrikes on Iranian nuclear sites over the weekend, when it joined Israel's air war against Tehran. But just hours later, U.S. President Donald Trump announced on his Truth Social platform a, quote, complete and total ceasefire between Israel and Iran. He congratulated the two countries on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what he called the 12-day war. Trump had said Iran gave the United States notice prior to the missile attack in Doha, which he said made it possible for no lives to be lost. Early on Monday, Israel bombed a political prison in Tehran in a renewed demonstration of its willingness to strike not only military and nuclear targets, but key pillars in Iran's ruling system. The Trump administration maintains its aim is to solely destroy Iran's nuclear program, not to open a wider war. But in a social media post on Sunday, Trump spoke of toppling the hardline clerical rulers, who have been Washington's main foes in the Middle East since Iran's 1979 Islamic Revolution.
Vehicle shopping? Make sure you check out Titusville Ford first. Shop our amazing selection of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in stock. Visit us on Route 8 in Titusville and see why our customer service is a cut above the rest. Titusville Ford, your hometown dealer.
Vanderhoof Heating and Air Conditioning provides residential and light commercial air conditioning services throughout the area. They understand the importance of your cooling system working properly. That is why you can trust in Vanderhoof to do the job right. Whether it's a non-working air conditioner, yearly maintenance, or a new install, you can be assured that we will solve your problem quickly and efficiently. Your home's air conditioning system is far more than just temperature. It's a complete comfort system that combines temperature, humidity, air quality, and above all, safety. Vanderhoof Heating and Air Conditioning in Titusville.
Marsh Home Center Furniture, Appliances, and Bedding is located at 305 East Spring Street in Titusville. Marsh Home Center welcomes you in to explore their growing inventory of name brand furniture, appliances, and bedding. Need something not currently in stock? No problem. Order from Marsh's online catalog and have it delivered right to your door. Visit Marsh's to see their entire showroom. Ask questions, see what items are on sale, or just stop in and say hi. Marsh Home Center Furniture, Appliances, and Bedding, behind Giant Eagle in Titusville.
Looking for expert orthopedic care? Dr. Charlie Gates, a trusted name at Titusville Area Hospital, can help you regain mobility and a better quality of life. With years of experience and a passion for personalized care, Dr. Gates specializes in treating a wide range of orthopedic conditions. Whether it's joint pain, sports injuries, or orthopedic surgery, trust Dr. Charlie Gates at Titusville Area Hospital for your orthopedic care. Call 814-827-9770 today to schedule your appointment.
Welcome to Inspire Med Spa, the place you know and love for massages, Botox, laser resurfacing, and semi-permanent makeup. Now we're offering even more, including laser hair removal, tattoo removal, and hair rejuvenation. Our team is here to provide expert care in a peaceful, luxurious environment designed with your relaxation in mind. And with our newly added services, now you can get all your beauty services in one place. Visit Inspire Med Spa today, because you deserve to look and feel your best.
Interstate Pipe and Supply takes pride in providing superior customer service. That's why our dedicated employees are well trained and have the experience to offer friendly, quick, and reliable service and support. Need materials delivered to your job site? No problem. Interstate offers fast delivery from our 4 locations in Western Pennsylvania. We also serve Eastern Ohio, Northern Western Virginia, and Western New York. Service means business at Western Pennsylvania's premier pipe and supply company, Interstate Pipe and Supply.
Whether you want to go and lead in your craft in the trades, whether you want to go and be that nurse or medical worker and have a real impact on lives, or whether you want to go and help that business improve its bottom line, this is the place, and now is your time to go with confidence, to go with skill, to go succeed. The Education and Training Center at Pitt Titusville.
I know sometimes we get into it and it's just hard on both of us, but try to understand me more and I'll try to do the same. But you have excuses because you're old, so it's okay.
Listening is a form of love. Find ways to support your kids at sounditouttogether.org.
Kick off your summer by saving big at Community Chevrolet's Summer Kickoff Sales Event. We wanted to call it the Dog Days of Summer Sale, but that made Clark too excited.
They told me I had to go outside if I started barking.
Save more than $10,000 off MSRP on a new Silverado, like the electrifying 2025 Chevy Silverado EV. Or hit the beach in the all-new Chevy Malibu RS and save nearly $4,000. The Dog Days of the Summer Kickoff Sales Event. This month at Community Chevy.
U.S. stocks closed higher to start the week, with the Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ Composite rising almost 1% each. Oil prices fell sharply after Iran retaliated against U.S. airstrikes but did not close the Strait of Hormuz, a crucial oil shipping route, as it had previously threatened. While fears of an escalating conflict in the Middle East remain, markets mostly shrugged off the latest attacks, said Jason Brown, president of Alexa Investment Partners.
There was a lot of concern going on in people's minds about what might happen. And the biggest concern, of course, is us getting drawn into a multi-year conflict with boots on the ground in the Middle East. Obviously, we've got a lot of presence in the Middle East, but so far, the most desirable outcome seems to be that which is taking place, which is a relatively swift action that hopefully is somewhat short-lived, that hasn't led to any significant increase in oil prices, for example, or been hugely disruptive, and hopefully limits the overall extent of engagement. And the markets seem to be celebrating that today.
Stocks also got a boost from Federal Reserve policymakers, including Michelle Bowman, who said on Monday that it is time to consider adjusting interest rates, as risks to the job market outweigh inflationary concerns related to tariffs. And Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago President Austin Goolsbee said that so far, tariffs have had a more modest economic impact than expected. Financial markets are pricing in at least 2 25 basis point rate cuts before the end of the year. The first cut is widely expected to happen in September. Individual stocks on the move included Tesla, which jumped 8% after the long-awaited launch of the company's robo-taxi service in Austin, Texas. And shares of DoorDash rose about 4.5% to a more than 3-year high after broker Raymond James upgraded the stock to strong buy from outperform.
Oil prices are down, and to some extent that seems counterintuitive with escalating tensions in the Middle East. Right? You had us attacking Iran. That did initially lead to a spike in futures of, again, a couple of percent. But remember, there's been a little bit of pressure just because there was anticipation about what might be happening there. And so to some extent, the relief rally we're seeing in stocks and the drop in oil is that we've now had an attack by the U.S., a retaliatory response from Iran that did limited damage and looks to be the start of a potential de-escalation. And we're seeing that at least the market's interpreting it as a potential de-escalation, both in the resilience in the stock market and in the downward pressure on oil prices. So again, a lot of that is people that maybe put on some hedges because they were worried that the prices were going to go up significantly. Now they got to unwind those hedges. It's probably a little bit of an overreaction at the moment. So expect some volatility there, but we don't expect huge spikes the upside. And I think it's really the huge spikes that people were worried about. And so that's why you're seeing the relief rally in the stock market as well. So mid caps, is really about if you're going to broaden out, but you don't want to get all the way down to small caps, mid caps are going to be an area where you've got a lot fewer unprofitable companies than you do in the small cap space. So if you think about businesses that have maybe done well, but they're going to need to refinance debt, if they're not profitable, they don't have as many levers to pull in a more challenging environment should that come into place in the next several months. So, interest rates are still a lot higher than they were a few months back. There's a lot of businesses out there that got access to free capital a few years ago. They're going to need to refinance at higher cost of capital levels. And so one reason why small caps we think are a little dangerous is because there's a lot of unprofitable small cap companies out there. So if you go up one tier to the mid cap space, you're still avoiding any exposure, for example, directly to the Magnificent Seven stocks that have led and any of these kind of large cap areas that maybe people have gotten a little over-invested in just because of that was an area of strength for the last several years. So you've gotten to broaden out your exposure to more sectors. Smaller companies tend to be a little faster growing as well. So if you believe that we're not going into recession, that exposure tends to be rewarded. And yet you're not dipping down into the realm of the unprofitable. Mid caps tend to be highly profitable businesses that are, in pretty strong financial situation overall.
Oil prices tumbled again on Tuesday after Donald Trump said Israel and Iran had agreed to a ceasefire. Tehran's foreign minister later denied there was any formal agreement, but did say the country would stop its attacks if Israel ended what he called its illegal aggression. International benchmark Brent crude was down over 2% in morning trade, with similar falls for US oil. That added to a 9% plunge the day before, when Iran did a token retaliation against a US base in Qatar and signalled it was done for now. The news appeared to lift concern that Tehran could move to block the Strait of Hormuz waterway, through which about a fifth of the world's oil is moved. However, Alexis Investment Partners President Jason Brown says the drop in prices may have been exaggerated.
So again, a lot of that is people that maybe put on some hedges because they were worried that the prices were going to go up significantly. Now they got to unwind those hedges. It's probably a little bit of an overreaction at the moment. So expect some volatility there, but we don't expect huge spikes.
Tuesday saw shares rally as tensions eased. Benchmark indexes in Tokyo and Hong Kong gained 1% or more in the morning, while South Korea's Kospi index jumped 2.5%. Tech stocks led the gains in Japan, with chip gear maker Tokyo Electron up over 4%. The more positive mood also saw money flow out of traditional safe havens, with gold down over 0.5% in Asian morning trade.
Sales of previously owned American homes unexpectedly rose in May, but sales remained at relatively low levels amid high mortgage rates and elevated home prices. The National Association of Realtors said on Monday that U.S. existing home sales climbed 0.8% last month, after falling 0.5% in April. Still, the sales pace was the slowest for the month of May since 2009. The chief economist of the National Association of Realtors blamed the weakness on persistently high mortgage rates. The average rate on the popular 30-year fixed-rate mortgage has hovered just under 7% this year. President Donald Trump's aggressive tariffs on imported goods have heightened uncertainty over the economy, which the Federal Reserve has responded to by pausing its interest rate cutting cycle. But Fed policymaker Michelle Bowman on Monday expressed an openness to cutting rates at the July meeting in the text of a speech she was set to give. The supply of existing homes on the market jumped 20% from a year ago, and the median price of a previously owned home rose 1.3% from 2024 to $422,800 in May, an all-time high for the month.
US small caps rise or fall on the domestic consumer, so can they keep rising now? This is Sectors Up Close, and we're talking US small caps. The Russell 2000 fell nearly 30% between November and April on concerns the US economy could be weakening, but since the Trump administration delayed its steepest tariffs for 90 days in mid-April, it's back up over 20%. Nathan Moser is a senior portfolio manager at Impax. Nathan, these stocks really ride on whether Americans feel confident in spending money, don't they? So what makes you think they will keep spending going forward?
Well, thank you for having me. I think a lot of it does come down to the economy and whether or not the U.S. will enter a recession or not. If you flash back to April, with the worst fears around the tariffs, odds of a recession increased to likely more than 50%. As we sit here today, those odds are much lower because the worst of the tariffs have likely been taken off the table, and investors are increasingly expecting fiscal stimulus to likely impact later in the year of 2025 and into 2026. So while I know many investors are frustrated with small cap performance, they've lagged for more than a decade, valuations are so compelling that we're recommending that folks stay invested in the asset class.
Just to dig into that point on tariffs, you said they've been taken off the table, but those higher rates, of course, were only suspended for 90 days. So shouldn't the market be concerned that they could be back as soon as early July?
Well, that is a risk. And again, the 90-day delay implies that at some point here in early July, we're going to see tariffs back on the table. I think many folks have discounted, yes, we will have higher tariffs, but the eventual rate for most countries, excluding China, will likely settle in the 10 to 15% range. I think the key point from a company perspective and then for earnings is that many companies are going to have to absorb some of that tariff impact as the U.S. consumer really can't handle additional price increases, just given the softening economy that we see.
I know that within small caps, you wanted to pick out financials, America's smaller banks, which have performed fairly poorly in the last couple of years. Why are you picking them out now?
Well, they had a great run after the Trump election in November. They've given a lot of that performance back of late. Really, the catalyst for small banks to perform better is a lighter touch from a regulatory standpoint. Regulation disproportionately impacts smaller companies. The large banks that many viewers will know well, they tend to navigate regulation better than the smaller community banks. So we expect that lighter touch to be supportive. We also expect there to be an increase in M&A activity as banks are allowed to actually pursue mergers. We're seeing some signs of that already. And the timetable to get deals done and get them closed is months, not years, which increases confidence of their management teams and their boards.
Is there a risk, though, Nathan, that lighter regulation could mean another Silicon Valley bank?
I don't think regulation's going to, the pendulum's not going to swing all the way to that extreme. You have to remember that, especially with the smaller banks, these executives and these board teams tend to be quite conservative. This is basic banking for Main Street America, lending to small businesses, lending to homeowners so they can purchase homes. They're not doing exotic things. Silicon Valley Bank was the exception to that. The majority of the 4,000 plus banks in the United States tend to be quite risk averse.
How rate sensitive is this sector, Nathan? Are potential gains reliant on moves from the Fed?
That's a good point. The yield curve has definitely helped. When we had an inverted yield curve, that was a headwind to bank performance. Now the yield curve has moved into a more normal position. With respect to the Fed, we're nearing the point where the Fed will be able to cut interest rates. Investors, in fact, are turning their attention to next year when Fed Chair Powell's term ends in May, and the prospect of another leader of that institution being more dovish and actually maybe being a bit more aggressive with lowering rates, that would be supportive as well to the banks broadly.
You said you expect M&A consolidation in this sector, so presumably not all smaller financials are a good bet. How should investors pick and choose?
Yeah, that's a very good point. So I think, as with all investing, you should be selective. Our preference is to position in geographies in the United States that are seeing in-migration. So that's broadly the southern states within the U.S., specifically areas like Texas and Tennessee, to name a few. Those states are seeing stronger economies. And again, as folks move from northern states to those states, they're bringing their assets and they're bringing that economic growth with them.
That was Nathan Moser of Impacts. Don't forget, you can watch more videos on Reuters.com.
Buzzing through the sky over southwestern Ghana, drones have become a new line of defence in West Africa's fight against illegal gold miners. Goldfields Tarkwa Mines head of Protection Services, Edwin Asari, believes they are a game changer for spotting potential illegal activity across the 81 square mile tract.
The drone is a faster way and it has a faster coverage. So you could use a few minutes to fly a drone over the whole concession, but if you would want to go physically, that would mean the use of fuel and human resource and going around all the mines.
On this occasion, armed police find abandoned equipment left behind by so-called wildcat miners. With record gold prices now sitting above $3,300 per ounce, unofficial activity on the outskirts of the continent's official mining ventures has increased. Dozens of mining executives and industry experts interviewed by Reuters say it is intensifying sometimes deadly confrontations between corporate concessions and artisanal miners in West Africa. Almost 20 illicit miners have been killed in confrontations at major operations across the region since late 2024. Sub-Saharan Africa's official mining operations provide critical income for nearly 10 million people, according to a May United Nations report. This year, Ghanaian authorities have ransacked dozens of informal mining sites, arresting hundreds of locals and foreigners, particularly Chinese nationals. Ghana's major corporate miners have intensified their campaign for military protection at mining sites this year. Similar requests have been made in Burkina Faso and Mali. Here's Michael Akafia, the president of Ghana's Chamber of Mines.
We've met with the National Security, the Chamber Secretary has met with the National Security Advisor and coordinators, and we've been trying to find the best way to address this, because you see, as a mature mining jurisdiction, the more of galamsey you have, the more your industry, looking at it globally, will be challenged.
Ghana's government did not respond to requests for comment, with sources claiming authorities want the mines to cover the daily deployment costs. Ghana's mining sector regulator, the Minerals Commission, is establishing an AI-powered control room to analyse data from 28 drones deployed to illegal mining hotspots. The system includes trackers on the excavators that can remotely disable excavators operating outside authorised boundaries. Some analysts have warned of more violent confrontations. With rising central bank gold buying and broader geopolitical tensions, gold could potentially be pushed to $5,000 an ounce.
All right, let's take a look at that weather forecast for northwest Pennsylvania. Sunshine to start, then a few afternoon clouds, near record high temperatures once again today. 92 for a high heat advisory set to expire tonight. Partly cloudy skies this evening and a low of 70. On into Wednesday, thunderstorms, mid-80s. Thursday, scattered thunderstorms, mid-80s. Friday, thunderstorms, mid-80s. Saturday, scattered thunderstorms with temperatures in the low 80s. Meadville this morning, about 74 degrees here. Cambridge Springs, Edinburgh, 74. Titusville, 73. Franklin this morning, 73. Oil City, 71 degrees at 7:55. And a lot on that housing market in the business report here this morning. Interesting, a lot of stories about that. As you take a look around the country, there's a lot happening, and I'll just bring up this story that just popped up here this morning. But the Midwestern Northeastern Metro made no Midwestern or Northeastern Metro made the rankings in terms of where the growth is for a couple reasons. But when you look at the cities with some major growth, here are the rankings this morning. Number 1, Phoenix, Arizona. Median list price, $525,000. Active listings, 23.1%. Days on the market, 58. Share of listings with a price cut, 31.3%. So Phoenix, Arizona at the top of the list. In second, Tampa, Florida. Median list price, $417,500. Active listings, about 31.2%. Days on the market, 60. Share of listings with the price cut, 29.9%. Number 3 on the list. And what's interesting here is we're not talking just like one area that's, picking up all this traction. It's different spots in the country. Number 3, Denver, Colorado. Median list price, $600,000. Active listings, 63.9%. Days on the market, about 38. Share of the listings with the price cut, 29.4%. Number 4 here on the list, Austin, Texas. Median list price, $525,000. Active listings, 26.5%. Days on the market, 46. Share of listings with the price cut, 29.2%. Then you get number 5 on the list, Jacksonville, Florida. 6 on the list, Charleston, South Carolina. 7, Salt Lake City, Utah. 8, Dallas, Texas. 9, Palm Bay, Florida. 10, Portland is number 10. So there you have it. But it was interesting listening to those business stories where they addressed the housing market. And those are the top 10 metros offering the biggest price cuts and booming inventory. So just kind of interesting there. The typical home in the bustling southwestern hub costs about $525,000. And active listings were up more than 23% from a year ago. New listings, a measure of owners putting homes up for sale, ticked up to 3.8% year over year, offering house hunters plenty of choices. That's seen really in the South and the West. So, yeah, they have it quite interesting, and I think that's been a sort of a selling point for our region here, because there is a lot going on. But you can find some great deals on real estate. And, Joe, not to bring you in the mix because we're going to be talking tech, but this stuff fascinates me. And we've had knowledgeable folks on from ERA Richmond Real Estate talking about the housing markets here. And people aren't just throwing a dart at the board and saying, I want to move here. They're doing research and finding, like, this is a great place for recreational opportunities, education. Oh, yeah, and by the way, you can get a really nice house for under what? A couple $100,000?
Yeah, and you don't have to look very far to see how cost effective that is. Even the Pittsburgh or even the Erie market, you look at them and the housing prices are dramatically different than our rural areas around here.
Yeah,
it's really quite impressive.
Yeah, this is fascinating. All right, we're coming up on 8 o'clock here this morning. Joe Tech will be joining us. This is the Morning Drill. You're watching it on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Stay cool again today. It's going to be hot.
Explosions were heard across Doha on Monday as Iran launched missiles at a U.S. air base in Qatar's capital. The attack was retaliation for U.S. airstrikes on Iranian nuclear sites over the weekend, when it joined Israel's air war against Tehran. But just hours later, U.S. President Donald Trump announced on his Truth Social platform a, quote, complete and total ceasefire between Israel and Iran. He congratulated the two countries on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what he called the 12-day war. Trump had said Iran gave the United States notice prior to the missile attack in Doha, which he said made it possible for no lives to be lost. Early on Monday, Israel bombed a political prison in Tehran in a renewed demonstration of its willingness to strike not only military and nuclear targets, but key pillars in Iran's ruling system. The Trump administration maintains its aim is to solely destroy Iran's nuclear program, not to open a wider war. But in a social media post on Sunday, Trump spoke of toppling the hardline clerical rulers, who have been Washington's main foes in the Middle East since Iran's 1979 Islamic Revolution.
Thinking about switching to 5G home internet? Think again. Unlike Zoom from Armstrong, 5G home internet is delivered by a cell tower. The further away you are, or the more devices connected to that tower, the slower your internet is. Cell phone providers also play favorites. When their network gets busy, cell phones win, and your home internet pays the price. Stick with Armstrong to get more data, more speed, and internet whenever you need it, not whenever they want. Armstrong, keeping you connected.
Are you tired of juggling multiple pill bottles? Titusville Express Pharmacy has your solution, now offering compliance packaging. Your medication sorted and sealed by dose, making it easier than ever to stay on track. In a hurry? Take advantage of our convenient drive-through service. We also offer free local delivery for those that qualify. Titusville Express Pharmacy, where convenience meets care. Visit us today at 401 West Spring Street in Titusville. Simplify your medication routine with Titusville Express Pharmacy.
Poppy's Equipment and Storage Rental in Pleasantville is committed to providing our customers with exceptional service while offering quality rental equipment. Poppy's is now an authorized steel dealer with everything you need to have for sawing and cutting or mowing to digging. And of course, Poppy's has tents, tables, chairs, heaters, generators, barbecues, and more for your next wedding or get-together. Need firewood or propane? No problem. Whether you're in construction or a weekend warrior, reach out to Poppy's about your next project. Poppy's Place on the Tenesta Road in Pleasantville. Community Connect Federal Credit Union, serving Crawford, Venango, Forest, and Warren counties. Their mission is to provide quality, low-cost, and personal financial products for the growth and security of their members and families. Stop in, call, or visit our website, communityconnectfcu.com, and click Join to get started. Community Connect Federal Credit Union, 1050 East Spring Street in Titusville.
For a unique shopping experience with great gift ideas, decor, and so much more, come check out what Titusville Market Square's nearly 100 vendors have to offer, featuring unique items from local agribusiness, craftsmen, and vendors. We also offer products from 4 regional dairies, including a full line of Titusville dairy products. We carry a complete line of Amish wedding products, local honey, and maple syrup, as well as nostalgic Dog and Suds root beer and Fiestada pizzas. Don't forget to pick up fresh Clark's Donuts, delivered daily. Titusville Market Square, the new name in one-stop shopping.
Who can solve this equation? Ooh, me. Anyone else? Fine. Jake from State Farm. Again.
All right. It's the personal price plan theorem. If you bundle your home and auto, that can equal an affordable price just for you.
Bundling. Just another way to save with the personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Fat Chad's Brewing is Titusville's premier dining destination, offering fine dining served with a cold beverage and great conversations. Try our new menu items, the T-bone steak, homemade meatloaf dinner, or soft shell crab tacos. Our pasta entries and sandwiches are just as popular. Try the new lobster ravioli, shrimp and scallop pasta, or our popular Asiago chicken. Don't forget about our famous burgers or fish sandwich, all served with fresh cut fries. Come in Saturday nights for Wild Game Saturdays. For good food and good times, it's Fat Chad's Brewing in Titusville.
For over 11 years, Triple M Roofing has been providing Amish quality craftsmanship and work ethic that you can rely on. Pole barns, decks, porches, siding, and almost all roofing needs, Triple M Roofing will get the job done on time without sacrificing quality or the promise to deliver within your budget. Call today for a free estimate, 814-964-0472. Waiting is what you'll do with the other guys. Getting it done is what we do. Amish owned and operated, we're Triple M Roofing.
U.S. stocks closed higher to start the week, with the Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ Composite rising almost 1% each. Oil prices fell sharply after Iran retaliated against U.S. airstrikes but did not close the Strait of Hormuz, a crucial oil shipping route, as it had previously threatened. While fears of an escalating conflict in the Middle East remain, markets mostly shrugged off the latest attacks, said Jason Brown, president of Alexa Investment Partners.
There was a lot of concern going on in people's minds about what might happen. And the biggest concern, of course, is us getting drawn into a multi-year conflict with boots on the ground in the Middle East. Obviously, we've got a lot of presence in the Middle East, but so far, the most desirable outcome seems to be that which is taking place, which is a relatively swift action that hopefully is somewhat short-lived, that hasn't led to any significant increase in oil prices, for example, or been hugely disruptive, and hopefully limits the overall extent of engagement. And the markets seem to be celebrating that today.
Stocks also got a boost from Federal Reserve policymakers, including Michelle Bowman, who said on Monday that it is time to consider adjusting interest rates as risks to the job market outweigh inflationary concerns related to tariffs. And Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago President Austin Goolsbee said that so far, tariffs have had a more modest economic impact than expected. Financial markets are pricing in at least 2 25 basis point rate cuts before the end of the year. The first cut is widely expected to happen in September. Individual stocks on the move included Tesla, which jumped 8% after the long-awaited launch of the company's robo-taxi service in Austin, Texas. And shares of DoorDash rose about 4.5% to a more than 3-year high after broker Raymond James upgraded the stock to strong buy from outperform.
Well, joining us this morning is Mr. Joe Tech. Hi, Joe. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Luke?
Good. This heat dome right over us, and we're talking technology with like AC units today.
Yeah.
How great it is, but you just start thinking too. We talk about people. We talk about pets. What about equipment in this kind of heat? Should you power down and?
I mean, your computer equipment does put off a lot of heat, so. Most homes don't have like big rooms that have a lot of their tech in it that generate a ton of heat. A lot of times those are specifically cooled distinct from the rest of the building because they do put off so much heat. In my day job, when we have a project like that has a client that has a lot of computer equipment, we'll have discussions with them. How much tech do you have? Because we may have to, specifically cool your tech room a little bit differently because it does generate so much heat.
Yeah.
Most residential applications, you don't have that much. But if you don't have air conditioning in a room and you do have a powerful computer, you may want to consider shutting it off or putting an extra fan next to it, because desktop fans have fans, or desktop computers have fans in them to try and cool them, but it might not be a bad idea to stick a fan blowing on it and something else.
Keep the air circulating.
Just keep that air circulating, keep some cooler air, because it will have some difficulty if you don't have air conditioning keeping those components cool. So
do most people, do you think, understand that, or do you have still a lot of people that say, well, why can't we just put our equipment in a closet?
You still have a lot of people that are like, yeah, we'll just put it in this closet. Like, okay, well, that's fine, but generates a lot of heat, and
there's no ventilation here.
Yeah, we're going to have to make sure that it's taken care of properly, because especially if you're talking a commercial application, this is the lifeblood of your business. You can't go down, so we need to make sure that your equipment is being cooled properly, and we're exhausting all that warm air out of here.
It's incredible how much we rely on this stuff. It goes down for 2 seconds, and it seems like it's the end of the world. And for some businesses, 2 seconds is $2 million.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, big companies, they understand it very well, and they put a lot of emphasis on their tech, but also their building maintenance to make sure that that cooling system doesn't go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good stuff to start here, Joe.
Oh, geez.
What do you have for us today? What's going on?
Well, let's see. Speaking of tech going down,
the
Israel-Iran war that we've been hearing about. What we've mostly been hearing about is and rightly so, the rockets that are being thrown back and forth. But there's just a lesser known portion of the war, and that is hacking. So the cyber war portion of the war has been interesting as well. Politico had a pretty good article. Iran actually, their internet was down because Iran shut it down because they were being hacked, It's not clear to me whether it was Israel state-funded or if it was just Israeli hacking agencies. But it was definitely Israel that was hacking Iran. A hacking group known as Predatory Sparrow claimed credit for a cyber attack last week on Iran's bank SEPA, which caused a ton of account issues for customers. But then they also claimed credit for draining around $90 million of cryptocurrency. Because, yes, even Iran is into cryptocurrency. From Novitex, Iran's largest cryptocurrency exchange. They also posted stolen Novitex source code on X. Wow. So we see all this, the physical destruction from rocket attacks, but what you don't see is, Iran's weakened ability to rebuild because hackers stole a bunch of their Bitcoin. So I don't even know if they stole them. The way the article reads is they just destroyed them. So they destroyed the code that made up the Bitcoin, so they're just gone. So it's some are saying that this is, as much as this is a war at 12 days or whatever the length is, some are saying that this is maybe the first cyber war officially. There's a lot of hacking that goes on, back and forth between different groups and different countries.
When you say that, more than normal? Because I'm sure this is going on.
No, I'm just saying that there's stuff that goes on, but it's not as devastating and destructive as this in an actual war situation. The stuff that goes on is a little bit more needling and just trying to see what you can get, and maybe not necessarily destroying things, but just finding information. It's not as warfare like as this one. So that's
trying to turn people against other people or government or whatever. I still, I don't think we ever talked about this. When you look back, was it last fall, the Hezbollah device explosions in the pagers? In the
pagers,
that was like, I was trying to 60 Minutes did a piece on that. Like, it was years and years and years in the making that they just kind of sat around before.
Very, very patient.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just the level of detail they went into to create these fake companies and get them to purchase these, and it was incredibly devastating, but also very, you have to look at it for what it is. It was incredibly clever and well thought out.
There's a lot of craziness in the world, Joe.
So that's something that you don't always see
or think about
but that's definitely a thing.
I think you got glimpses of it with the things going on with Ukraine and Russia, where there was some tech stories that came out of that with things that were going on, and that was quite fascinating too.
That was more towards like grid stuff, trying to shut down people's grids so that they'd have limited capabilities to communicate. But it's very similar. So it sounds morbid, but it is kind of fascinating to see. It's something that we've been dealing with bombs and that stuff for a long time. It's a new type of warfare that we're not used to, and it's intriguing for sure.
All right.
And there was another article that 16 billion passwords were leaked.
Oh, yes.
I feel like sometimes my role here is to be the voice of moderation. Please don't panic when you see a headline that says 16 billion passwords were leaked, because it's all it is a headline. If you really delve into the details of the article, it probably wasn't nearly that many, because that was this group that was tracking over a long period of time. So it wasn't one hacking event. It was like 30 different issues, many of which overlap. So it's probably a lot of the same information duplicated. So that number is already overinflated. Plus, it appears as though a lot of the information had already been leaked at previous times. So it wasn't new information. It's not clear whether anybody was able to access the information. So it's a very sensationalized headline, and to some extent meant to scare and get eyeballs, but in reality, it's really probably not that bad. Now, again, I'm kind of floating some middle ground here. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't take precautions. If you have the ability to use two-factor authentication, please do so. It's an extra layer of security. If you're not using a password manager, you should use a password manager. If you have the ability through your phone to use pass keys and use like fingerprints as opposed to a password, that's also another layer of security. So there are things that you can do, and you should be changing your passwords every once in a while. If you're like me, that's not a problem, because you generally forget your password because you don't use a password manager, and so you have to change it anyway.
See, I guess because here's what happens with me. I open up. Well, first of all, I've got like 1,000 tabs always open on my computer. Yeah. But I always get, once in a while, I get these pop-ups that say, "Hey, your password's been compromised. Yep. You should really change it." And I don't. And I should.
Well, and here's why. And maybe you don't have this problem. If a lot of people will use the same password for multiple logins.
Yes.
So if somebody got a hold of your, we're just going to use, again, not that I know of anything, but we're just going to use them because everybody has a Netflix account. If Netflix reaches out to you and says your password has been hacked, the problem is now these hackers are going to look at they're going to try to log into all your other stuff using the same password, because most people use the same password over and over again. So if your Netflix password is unique for you and you don't use it for anything else, it's really not that big of a deal, because they can hack in and watch your shows and screw up your algorithm or whatever, but it's not going to affect anything else. But most people, me included, use a lot of the same passwords over and over again because you remember them, and you don't want to have to rethink of, oh shoot, what was that? But that's why I encourage people to use a password manager, because it'll manage all your passwords, and then you can just remember one to get into the password manager, and then everything else can be unique. So when a Netflix gets hacked, you don't really have to worry. You can go into your password manager, you can change the password just for Netflix, and it's not a big deal.
All right. Maybe I'll look and change it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's to the point where it's just so daunting.
Yes.
Because I've gone into look at my, on your cell phone, you can look at all the passwords that are managed on your phone, and it's like, oh my goodness, it'd take you all day to change all your passwords. I mean, it's a daunting task if you start to think about it. So I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, when you change one, then you got to confirm it. You're waiting for a confirmation email or a text or whatever, both. Yep. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
You're watching The Morning Drill on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. unless you want to double check that yourself, and you'll get an email with the confirmation on that. Yeah. Joe Tech with us here this morning.
Yeah. If you're, I was going to say, if you're watching on Armstrong, I don't think you need a password to watch us on Armstrong. You can just turn on your TV and turn on the right channel. So you should be good.
You should be good there, yeah. But I mean, there's apps to monitor all. I mean, your account, obviously. Pay your bill or.
Yeah, and if you're watching us on YouTube, you got to make sure you know what your YouTube password is. That's an important.
I actually had a client that struggled with that. He goes, "I don't want any of that." And I'm like, well, there should be like a sign in as guest.
Yeah.
But still, even that, it's funny because people say they don't want something, and then when they're offered like an out like that, but they don't get everything that comes with actually just signing up, it's like you can't have it both ways.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Well, I noticed on the business report that Tesla stock went up like 8%. Because they unveiled the robo-taxis, which he's been promising for, 5 years, 6 years, something like that. Finally started to roll out some robo-taxis, and some of the reviews are starting to come in. A lot of the terms people are using are normal, smooth, no issues. Now, again, I want to be the voice of reason here. I want to put into context what we're talking about. The robotaxis have been unveiled in one city, Austin, Texas, within a geo-fenced area. So it can't go everywhere in Austin, Texas. They are avoiding highways, unusually complicated intersections. I don't think they've had any bad weather yet, but they probably won't run in bad weather. They still have a driver that is there not driving, but just in case something goes bad. So if you get into one of these, there's still somebody there. Many times there's a chase vehicle. So there's another vehicle behind you following you around in case something goes bad. And it is only by invite. It's by invite only. So there are only select number of people who in the past have typically been very positive when it comes to Tesla that have been invited to share in this ride-sharing program. So, and of course Elon Musk had to make a pot joke out of it. So everybody that rides pays a flat fee of $4.20. So, but with all those things being said, they have gone fairly smoothly so far.
I assume the people in the car, I mean, everything's precaution right now because they don't want anybody to get hurt.
And they don't want any bad publicity in the first couple of weeks, yes. Yeah. Maybe even first couple of months.
You just pay somebody to just drive people around.
Well, you gotta go through this middle ground until you can get there. Yeah, they did a ton of mapping of the area and the streets that they are going to use, at least for this, and so they're fairly confident, but they really don't want to have any bad press. And I guess the drivers, like the drivers or the front passengers that are there in case of an emergency, they're not allowed to talk to you. So they're just sitting there in silence. Like, you get in and they still verify that it's you, and then they shut up and they don't talk. So they're not supposed to talk.
See, I couldn't do that.
I couldn't either. But
that's all right. Yeah. Well, that's certainly interesting.
Yeah. And the other thing to note, again, for finding the middle ground here, it is important to note that Waymo actually has like 1,500 robo-taxis that they have had on streets in Texas and in California. I think it was somebody on my Facebook friends group, or one of my Facebook friends posted a video. They were riding in one. They were on vacation and they got a ride from one of the Waymo taxis. And they are completely driverless. So you get in, and they're the Jaguars, and they got the big radar that sits on top, and it was pretty interesting watching it was just a quick video, but it was pretty neat.
You kind of touched upon it, though. Is it one of those things where it's going to be a long time before you see something like that in this area when it comes to like winter conditions, or is this like, hey, this is a summer and spring or fall type of a vehicle?
I think it's going to be a long time before we see one around here, period, let alone, weather-related issues. You can do a lot of simulated testing. Tech does that a lot, but here you actually have to do real-world testing, and that takes time. And so I think it's going to be a long time before they can prove that it is safe. I know there's going to be a lot of tweaks that they're going to have to make it more robust. Being able to go other places outside of highly planned out routes. So I think it's going to be a long time before a lot of people see these, because there's just going to be so much testing and adjustments that have to be made.
Is that top you were talking about?
Yeah, that's the Jaguar that Waymo uses, which is an Alphabet company, a Google company. But it is completely... Now, again, being completely open and honest, those don't have a driver, but they are remotely monitored. And there have been many, many times where a remote monitor can and has had to take control to stop them from having accidents.
Wow.
So it's not as... Again, you see the headline and like, hey, the robo-taxis are out. Yes, but there's a lot of caveats with that. I feel like the genie in Aladdin. Okay, there's a few caveats here. You can't.
And any discounts for actually using these things right now as they test them, or is
the robo taxis, it's a flat fee no matter how far you're going. It's $4.20.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So it's a pretty good deal.
Maybe it'll get you there.
Maybe it'll get you there.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, no problem.
Explosions were heard across Doha on Monday as Iran launched missiles at a U.S. air base in Qatar's capital. The attack was retaliation for U.S. airstrikes on Iranian nuclear sites over the weekend, when it joined Israel's air war against Tehran. But just hours later, U.S. President Donald Trump announced on his Truth Social platform a, quote, complete and total ceasefire between Israel and Iran. He congratulated the two countries on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what he called the 12-day war. Trump had said Iran gave the United States notice prior to the missile attack in Doha, which he said made it possible for no lives to be lost. Early on Monday, Israel bombed a political prison in Tehran in a renewed demonstration of its willingness to strike not only military and nuclear targets, but key pillars in Iran's ruling system. The Trump administration maintains its aim is to solely destroy Iran's nuclear program, not to open a wider war. But in a social media post on Sunday, Trump spoke of toppling the hardline clerical rulers, who have been Washington's main foes in the Middle East since Iran's 1979 Islamic Revolution.
The Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home has been serving the needs of Titusville and surrounding communities since 1965. Mr. Garrett believed in tradition and commitment to excellence, standards that have been passed down from one generation to now a new generation, who will work to provide you with a beautiful, lasting tribute to your loved one. When you need them, they will be there for you. This has been their foundation for almost 60 years. The Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home, 303 North Washington Street in Titusville.
Anyone with a kind and generous heart and a little money can be a philanthropist. You too can be a force for good in our community, and the Crawford Heritage Community Foundation is here to help you make the most of your charitable giving. We've partnered with hundreds of people like you to make our world and our community a better place. You can give through us to support scholarships or any charitable organization or purpose. Whether you're interested in establishing a permanent endowment or adding to an existing fund, we want to be a part of your plan. Contact us when you're ready to make your mark. Together, we can make your contribution go further.
If you're looking for a professional massage therapist, Tranquil Moments Massage in Titusville is here for you. Ray and Rauch graduated from Slippery Rock University with a bachelor's degree in exercise and rehabilitative sciences with an emphasis in athletic training. Tranquil Moments offers a wide range of services from Swedish massage to deep tissue, sugar scrubs to hot towel inclusion therapy. Like them on Facebook and visit their website to learn more about all the services they offer. Tranquil Moments Massage in Titusville.
Thinking about switching to 5G home internet? Think again. Unlike Zoom from Armstrong, 5G home internet is delivered by a cell tower. The further away you are, or the more devices connected to that tower, the slower your internet is. Cell phone providers also play favorites. When their network gets busy, cell phones win, and your home internet pays the price. Stick with Armstrong to get more data, more speed, and internet whenever you need it, not whenever they want. Armstrong, keeping you connected.
J. Gill Plumbing and Heating takes pride in being the premier heating and air conditioning service provider in the area. With over 30 years of experience, our highly skilled and certified technicians will work closely with you to address your heating and air conditioning repair, installation, or maintenance needs. Our team is dedicated to making your home the ultimate place of comfort. Call today to get a free estimate. We also offer financing options and membership opportunities that provide peace of mind and cost savings. Call J. Gill Plumbing and Heating today or visit them online 24/7 at jgillplumbingheating.com.
Sheer Design is Titusville's exclusive Paul Mitchell focused salon. This full-service salon specializes in coloring, cuts, nails, and tanning. Owner Angela Saxon has over 20 years experience as a Paul Mitchell professional. She and her licensed staff offer all cuts and styles for men and women of all ages. Call 814-827-0010 or stop in at 116 South Kerr Street in Titusville.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Levin, and I proudly own and operate Puppy Levin. Puppy Levin is a pet care salon dedicated to caring for your furry companions. We provide certified dog grooming services along with boarding and doggy daycare. Our facility is family-owned and operated and promise personalized care for every pet that comes through our doors. If you're worried about your furry friend being lonely when you're gone, we also have on-site personnel 24/7 just for their comfort. Follow us on Facebook and call or text us at 814-758-9259 to make an appointment today.
Share the fun of train travel and relive our country's oil history as you ride the OC&T through the valley that changed the world. Learn about the past while traveling on vintage cars. See a variety of wildlife with stops at Drakewell Park, Petroleum Center, and Oil Creek State Park. Arrive early and see the vast collection of train and railroad memorabilia at Perry Street Station. After the ride, enjoy a night's stay at the Caboose Motel. For seasonal specials or for more information, visit octrr.org or call 814-676-1733.
U.S. stocks closed higher to start the week with the Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ Composite rising almost 1% each. Oil prices fell sharply after Iran retaliated against U.S. airstrikes but did not close the Strait of Hormuz, a crucial oil shipping route, as it had previously threatened. While fears of an escalating conflict in the Middle East remain, markets mostly shrugged off the latest attacks, said Jason Brown, president of Alexa Investment Partners.
There was a lot of concern going on in people's minds about what might happen. And the biggest concern, of course, is us getting drawn into a multi-year conflict with boots on the ground in the Middle East. Obviously, we've got a lot of presence in the Middle East, but so far, the most desirable outcome seems to be that which is taking place, which is a relatively swift action that hopefully is somewhat short-lived, that hasn't led to any significant increase in oil prices, for example, or been hugely disruptive, and hopefully limits the overall extent of engagement. And the markets seem to be celebrating that today.
Stocks also got a boost from Federal Reserve policymakers, including Michelle Bowman, who said on Monday that it is time to consider adjusting interest rates as risks to the job market outweigh inflationary concerns related to tariffs. And Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago President Austin Goolsbee said that so far, tariffs have had a more modest economic impact than expected. Financial markets are pricing in at least 2 25 basis point rate cuts before the end of the year. The first cut is widely expected to happen in September. Individual stocks on the move included Tesla, which jumped 8% after the long-awaited launch of the company's robo-taxi service in Austin, Texas. And shares of DoorDash rose about 4.5% to a more than 3-year high after broker Raymond James upgraded the stock to strong buy from outperform.
All right, let's take a quick look at that weather forecast for Northwest Pennsylvania here this morning. And we are looking at that heat advisory set to expire tonight. Going to be another warm one today. Sunny to partly cloudy skies. Near record high temperatures, low 90s. Partly cloudy tonight with a low around 70. Wednesday, scattered thunderstorms. Low to mid 80s. Thursday, morning clouds, afternoon sunshine, mid 80s. Friday, thunderstorms, mid 80s. Saturday, scattered thunderstorms with temperatures in the low 80s. About 75 degrees here this morning as things warm up here. And again, 92 for a high today. This is the Morning Drill. You're watching it on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Tuesday morning. Buccos picked up a win last night. Good to see that they picked up a couple good wins. Joe Tech hanging out here this morning. And, you know, Joe, we talk a lot about technology, but occasionally we throw in some entertainment. I was thinking over the last month or so, this summer has not been all that great in terms of big movies. I mean, you got Jurassic Park, or the Jurassic World movie coming out, and Superman. Those are some big names, but it's kind of been a quiet summer.
A little bit. You've had some spots. The live action How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, that's right.
Been pretty good. We had wasn't the Minecraft movie did really well. It was a little bit pre kind of summer blockbuster, but yeah, we're celebrating 50 years of Jaws, which is like I saw your mug over there. Yeah. But that's kind of the really considered the first big summer blockbuster movie. So yeah, it's maybe there's still time. Marvel really has been kind of, I'll say, quiet. Like they haven't put out a lot of movies and they haven't been as well received. So yeah, Marvel, they're kind of commanded the summers there for a while.
Yeah. It's just been just kind of been a quiet, to a degree. I'm just there's maybe not as much hype as years past. Is I guess what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I know the Jurassic World movie that's coming out. I know it's like the same story as the others combined pieces of it. I like dinosaurs.
Yeah.
If it's a yucky day or a really, really hot day and you're looking to escape, yeah, I'd go see that.
Yeah.
Superman, I am a big fan of Superman. I would love to see that.
Looks really interesting. Crypto's in it. It looks like it'd be an interesting movie. I'd like to see James Gunn's take on it.
Yes.
So yeah, that one might be one I might have to make it a point to go see.
The other thing that, and this is great for movies, right? They sort of found this really cool thing with the popcorn buckets.
Yeah.
To try to bring people back into the theaters. Yeah. And you mentioned Jaws. My son showed me yesterday. He went to a movie a couple weeks ago or last week and got the Amityville Jaws popcorn bucket.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, why didn't you get me one? Well, it's like $18. I'm like, That's when you call me and transfer money to you or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's a cool bucket.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's been some really cool buckets. Wasn't there one for Dune? It was like a sandworm or something. Yeah, there's been some really cool ones.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've seen them. There's a place I go where I may get one if it's cool. So I've got a couple. And what's really neat, some of them are made right here in Warren.
Oh, at Worley.
At Worley.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That makes sense, though.
In fact, never mind. I won't share the story. But yes, I have an inn at Worley, and great conversations.
Yeah, my wife used to work there.
There you go.
Yep.
And they make things for amusement parks. They do a lot of things. But
a lot of the cups you get at Disney. A lot of
and Universal.
Yeah. It was one of the first things I did when we went to Disney. Was I got to check and see. Yep, there it is.
Yep. Pretty cool.
Yep.
I think that's kind of neat, and I don't know if it's used in marketing at all, trying to hire people at these companies, because these companies struggle to hire people.
Yeah.
Some of them have really great stories to tell. Like, we make products for places like Disney or Universal, or we make parts that go into space or have been to Mars or the moon.
Yep.
It's like, why aren't you telling that story?
Yeah, that should be widely known.
Yes. Unless it can't be widely known.
Yeah. There are some companies around that you have to sign some things before you go in.
Absolutely. And I think you and I are both in industries where we get to kind of sneak in and
see the behind the scenes stuff. Yeah, that people don't know about. Yeah.
And there's really cool things going on here in Northwest Pennsylvania.
Very cool things. Yep.
And then, just the technology side of all that's impressive.
Yeah.
You got companies that may design the machines used to mill something or whatever, and maybe there wasn't something out there to do what they needed, so they had to build something from scratch.
Yep. Yeah.
Or they're integrating technology that, again, if it's used in space that needs to do a certain thing, it's awesome stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's really impressive if you really pay attention. Yeah. Yeah, and I know that locally our high school has a manufacturing program now, and they will get parts. So a lot of the local companies will come and say, I can't get this part anymore for this machine that we have. It's really important. Can you make it? So they'll do some custom parts that are, you can't just buy it anymore, but we need this machine. So can you reverse engineer this and make this part that, it's a wear part that just wears out.
Yeah.
And so that's been really cool for the students to see that now too. And just for them to realize, oh no, there's really cool stuff that happens right here.
We had a guest whose dad was restoring his classic antique. I can't remember what year. One of those, like, it's a 57 Chevy type thing, stories. Couldn't find a part that he needed. And he was pretty hands-on, and he had the equipment, so he made it.
Yeah.
He found the design, made it. All of a sudden, he started getting phone calls from other people who had those. And he started making those.
Word got out.
Yeah. Well, it became so big. The problem was he could have grown the business.
Yeah.
But he was older. His kids were in their fields, but they would come and help on the weekends.
Yeah.
They could have gambled and quit and, made it bigger than what it, ended up being. But, he ended up closing up, and because, again, it was in his garage.
Yeah.
And he sold the equipment to different people, so nobody's making this stuff. But, again, here's a guy who had a thought, did it, and it could have been a lot bigger. And the guy's son who would help him said, it could have been full-time.
Yeah.
This could have been a big business.
Yeah. Well, because how many other companies started out that way and then branched off or added product? How many companies started off with, we're just making this one thing, but it's able to grow. And okay, now we can make these parts and we can add these parts, and next thing you know, they're a big company that supplies all kinds of different aftermarket parts for cars or whatnot.
Yeah. We've hit movies. How about sports real quick?
Yeah.
Basketball, Oklahoma City, huh?
Oklahoma City with their first championship. Yeah. A long rebuilding process it took them, but they finally made it back.
Young team.
Yeah.
Like probably shouldn't have won with the names they have on the team. Like people are going like, who's that?
Well, then that's what I've been hearing is the super team dead, because for a long time now it's been these big players that have been, hey, why don't you come play with me and we'll go win a championship? And it's been trying to create these super teams with these superstars to try and win a championship. And now Oklahoma City comes out with no real superstars and playing against the Pacers, who, if their best player hadn't gone down, had a real chance to win that with no big superstar. So it was a team against a team. The Pacers, who play a lot of defense, which is kind of unheard of in modern NBA.
Yeah.
So it's, is this a shifting landscape here? It may just be that, teams that are finding ways that, other people are ignoring. I mean, because that was really the point of Moneyball, the whole Oakland A's, it was just ways of finding value that people aren't looking for. And so if everybody's looking for superstars, well, maybe we could take this collection of really good people, have a good coach, get them to work together, and maybe we can win some games. So I think that's just, of course people will chase it. They'll try and emulate it, and, that'll be the trend. But
well, you look at, kind of along those lines, Joe, the news last week with the Lakers selling for $10 billion.
Yeah.
The Buss family and what they did for the NBA in terms of creating that entertainment factor, in their games, and the other teams saying, oh, yeah, that's a great model.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, building championship teams, yes, but also the celebrity component of it, or the entertainment side of it.
Yes.
Just incredible.
Yeah, the quote-unquote business side of it.
Yep.
I saw an interesting stat in that regard, because they talked about how, how much he paid for it and how much he sold it for, and it was so many % increase. They're like, actually, if he had just taken that original money and put it in an S&P index fund, he would have made more money.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it seems like, oh, wow, but he invested a lot, and if you invest a lot into an index fund, it will grow. But obviously he wouldn't have turned down the chance to create this huge legacy and own the Lakers and win championships with them. But when you look at the numbers, it's like, oh no, he probably could have made that much or more if he had just stuck it in a fund.
Just to walk around knowing like you own some major league franchise of some kind. Is, and then when it's a top team, Lakers, Yankees, Patriots, Steelers, Cowboys, man, you show that off, right? You call hey buddy, come on in.
Yeah. If you win a Super Bowl ring with a team, you're wearing it.
Yeah. PGA Tour over the weekend, Cromwell, Connecticut, for the Travelers Championship. Keegan Bradley won it, $3.6 million. I feel bad for Tommy Fleetwood, who was leading, looking for his first PGA Tour win, and just couldn't finish. I listened to an interview afterwards, and boy, was he like really positive. You think like he'd be like, oh, that was horrible, I don't want to talk to anybody. He's like, no, I played great till the end. I got some things to work on, but I did great things, so there's that. Like, okay. But he tied for second with Russell Henley. Just $1.76 million.
I was going to say, like, yes, I'm sure the drive to win an event is there. And I don't want to take that away from him. But Like, how's he going to sleep tonight? Pretty well on that big bet of money. You know, he's doing okay.
So, just something else, too. I mean, these guys have a lot of staff that they have to pay. So, they're not keeping all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, there's swing coaches, but, like, don't they now have, like, swing coaches for driver and then for irons and for putting? So they have multiple swing coaches. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I sent it to you. There was a guy using, and I think they were the Microsoft VR goggles, and they would walk around the green, and the cameras and the sensors in the AR glasses would map the green.
Oh, wow.
And then you would go up to your ball, and it would give you the line, and you could see the contour lines if you wanted, or you could shut things off, and it would tell you where to aim, and it would show you the path, if it's an arcing shot, where it's going to go. And, like, so he tried it, and he didn't make the putt, but it was like a 25 foot arcing putt, and he was within inches every time. And it was just it would show put a circle around your ball, and and it would put a grid so that you could line yourself up, line your toes up, and it was really cool.
So this is something we need to look at.
Yeah, we need to get a demonstrator model because it's like $15,000 or something. I think it's an old video. I think the price has come down, but still, it was
maybe cheaper than the stuff I'm looking at. Right?
Yeah, it was really cool though. It was like, oh, that's what I thought. I was like, oh man, to be able to play in a scramble and be like, hey, I got the line here, fellas.
Hey, give me a minute. I need to map the green.
Yeah, I need to map the green. I need to walk around for a minute, and then we'll be good.
Yeah. You won't be asked to play ever again, will you?
No.
You're watching the Morning Drill on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. We're keeping with sports real quick. Bucco's picking up a couple back-to-back wins, which is good.
Yeah.
They have the Brewers again tonight at 7:40. And again, when you look at the divisional standings, in the basement behind Cincinnati, St. Louis, Milwaukee, and the Cubs, just what are your overall thoughts on the Pirates this year? I know there's a lot of chat. I mean, Pittsburgh sports fans are just diehard sports fans.
They are.
They enjoy winning.
Yes. Yeah. I think it was Tommy Pham who was interviewed within the last week, and he said it's hard to hit on a losing team. And I don't think that you can sum it up much better than that. Like, so much of sports is momentum, and to me, I think a good way to think of momentum is confidence over time. And it's so hard in baseball to build momentum, especially in hitting. So I think it's just been a little bit of a rut. And if they can get, and they've hit the last couple of games. So if you can get, a few more games of hitting and winning a few games, they could build some momentum. They're never going to be an ultimate slugging team. They're not going to be the 27 Yankees. But they have decent ball players, and they could make a decent run, especially with the pitching they have. They don't have to score a ton of runs. So can they be a middle-of-the-road hitting team? I think they could be. So if they can get some momentum, and Reynolds has been in a slump. He's a slow starter, but he's really struggled to get going. But after coming back from paternity leave, maybe that was, what his issue was worrying about his wife who was pregnant, and they've got other little ones. So, maybe he's back, and if he can be back, then their top of the lineup is pretty good. So I'm overall positive. That doesn't mean they couldn't stink the rest of the way, but they have the opportunity to be a decent team, through the All-Star break in the second half. I don't know that they'd be able to make a wild card this year. They'd have to really go on a run, but they could certainly start to contend for, middle of the road in the division and build on that for next year. That
already that talk before the All-Star break.
Not necessarily, but if it goes that
we're looking
way,
at next year.
If it goes that way,
You think Paul Skeens is okay? Like, in the back of his mind, is he thinking like, hey, I should be on a better team, or my time will come, or I like it here, I like the guys, we just need to find, figure some things out?
He seems to be a pretty patient guy. He's a young guy. He's going to have a long career. I think that's the best way to play it for him, is just be patient. And I think to a large extent they do believe that they've got decent hitters. They could make a run. They just need to hit to their potential and build a little momentum. I think they have a ton of confidence in their pitching staff. They struggled a little bit early on with the bullpen, but it has seemed to come around, and they've, some of the guys that were having issues, okay, they're squared away, and I think they know who they can trust now. I'm really impressed with Isaac Matson, a Erie product, who's pitching for the Pirates, doing really, really well. He did give up 2 hits a few nights ago, and it was on a fluke, in my opinion. It was a really good pitch, and the guy made it almost looked like he was trying to check his swing. It was out of the zone, and it was at a good location. The guy just happened to hit it out. But he's pitched really well. Bednar's pitching well. Santana's pitching really well. So they have a ton of confidence in their pitching staff. So, they know that they don't really need to outslug people. So, yeah, I think there's quite a bit of confidence there.
And then before wrapping up, real quick, there was a story yesterday. I know this has kind of been a big discussion the last several years, but or longer. But they really said, okay, scientists saying, yeah, I think we have the evidence for the 9th planet. It's out there. So
okay,
there's been some really cool things. I think a new telescope. They've been showing some images from that, and there's some really cool things out there. But yeah, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Well, Joe, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
See you next week.